everybody. I'm Jason Ward, and this is Rob, the Sketchcraft. We're from MakingStarWars.net, and today we are going in basic, raw, and dirty.
Don't lie, Jason. I killed your site.
I killed your whole YouTube, Dave Filoni.
They call me Jabroni Filoni. I DMCA'd your whole melon.
Man, I was like, I wanted to make a joke the other day using jabroni, and I was like, you know what? I don't really know what jabroni means. I just know that wrestlers say it, and I'm like, am I gonna get fucking like all yelled at and shit? Like, is somebody gonna start saying I ruined their childhood if I say jabroni? I have no idea.
They have in the past used racist terminology in the 80s. Like every now and then you stumble upon a Hulk Hogan, like what do they call
Razor Ramon? Saying Chico? Chico, look, what does that even mean? I don't know.
Look, it's totally racist what they did, but gotta give him props for being one of the only like cool-headed like shit talkers. Like he didn't ever yell too much, He just I just wish that was his natural personality. He wasn't like clearly American.
Yeah,
putting on that voice, but it's a bummer.
Right. Yeah, so I am an idiot and got some takeout a few days ago and ended up losing my bank card and my credit card. Didn't realize it until late last night. Canceled them. Nobody had used them. So that was good. But today is the day that Melon is supposed to charge me. And my new credit card and my new bank card aren't here. And I figured this out about 5 minutes before the show. And I was just like, well, all right, gonna do it raw and dirty.
See, if you had a lot more Patreons, you could just pay for this shit a year in advance and not worry about it.
Right? Come on.
But
Patroni.
Seems like me and 3 other people are single-handedly holding up the show.
Right? Yeah. I'm gonna say be a patron, not a patroni, jabroni. Nolan says it's been a while. How's it going, Mr. Nolan? Good to see you, dude. Nolan? And Star Wars Make says Ezra is awesome. Yeah, so usually I actually pulled the clip, spent time editing it out and pulling it and all that stuff so we could have it, but we can't do that kind of stuff now. That's stuff from the future. And Jordan says, just remember to discuss the actual topic today, Jason. No promises. We've already gotten into wrestling, and I don't even watch wrestling language.
See, this would help if I looked at the YouTube thumbnails before we started, so I could hold you to it. Get to the news right at the top. Let's just always get right to the news. Let's just go right to the news, and then we can just shoot the shit for the rest. Let's just go. Let's get it done. What is it? What did I miss?
But I had a good idea. My good idea is
shit.
I need to start making thumbnails about you and saying when you say when Rob says whatever Rob always says, like I'll study the videos, find that thing that you always say, and I'll be like, it means they're making episode 10. It means on a side note, went to the Mando set today. I don't think you guys could really see that very well, but yeah, they were laying that concrete that we talked about. That when Jesse was like, Jesse was like the contractor in Clerks. He was like, yeah, they're going to be laying some concrete up there, and I always know what the problem's going to be. But anyways,
it was one of the few times he like just threw the dick down, like bam.
Yeah,
he was this, guys.
He's like, I'm know that. Yeah, he was not having any of our shit when it came to like. He's like, I know this one. Shut up, Star Boys.
My real world experience with construction is they live Xander in Buffy when he got a construction job and dirty work. Like that's it. All right. That isn't even construction, but
So we're gonna do this podcasting 2012 style, 2013 style right here. Here's what he said.
Different things. There's not much more I can say about that, but I had heard murmurings that, this role was coming up and this is becoming a real thing. So I just kind of wanted to throw my name in the ring and just part of manifesting what you want. I think we live in an age now that's...
And then he goes on and talk about Hollywood and stuff. Now, in my opinion, I don't think it said much. I know I got a lot of DMs from a lot of people thinking that that was him saying something, and he says he can't say something, and if he can't say something, that means no. I think he can't say something, maybe because there's nothing to say, and I'm not saying he has the role or he doesn't. People have reported that he does. I'm not debunking that shit at all. I'm not touching it. I don't even care. Like on that front, you know what I mean? Like cool or whatever. That's my take. But are you aware of the manifesting stuff, Rob? Is that it's kind of
that was part of a whole. There was a movie about made for. I think Katie Holmes played in this movie about if you like manifest your beliefs. I came across dated a girl back in college who believed in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She wouldn't tell me she was in a religion or not. She was like, "No, it's not, but it's about manifesting." And they had to go to they had to go to their version of Bible camp. So you go to this camp, and I'm like, it's like Bible camp. No, it's not religion. I'm like, you're just praying for it's magical thinking. Like the fact of the matter is, and look, this is the cynical George Carlin side of me, right? The soldier who's seen a little bit of the world side. Manifesting is for like first world nations, you know, like nations that we've been bombing the shit out of, like in Syria. Ain't no amount of manifesting changing your fucking life in a real fucking bad situation. Like World War II, when they're firebombing Japan, I'm sure a lot of people in Japan were trying to manifest that shit away. It ain't happening. So like this all works in a world in which we're all having a pretty good time and you live a comfortable life and you think things sort of lined up for you, you know?
I totally agree.
Yeah. So hey, look, I'd rather someone have that mentality than the mentality of I want to burn it all down.
Sure. Yeah. No. If you go to LA and you just sit at a coffee shop and listen to some people just talk and just let them go, you will clearly very quickly find out that the whole manifestation topic is really a way of putting the blame onto you for a lot of capitalism's basic failures in the current climate, especially now.
Or nepotism, or what is it when you only hire your friends? What is that?
It's pretty close enough. I mean, I think nepotism is family, right?
But if you're in Hollywood, you know they mostly hire friends and people they know. It's like they may do a screen test of 1,000 people. They're never looking at that shit. That's just to cover, you know, yeah, we looked at it, you know. But they generally know who they're going to go for more often than not because they know them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and not trying to blame him for saying something that every person in Hollywood is always saying or something like that. I do think it's like I find it to be actually in its roots kind of a silly thing, like chaos magic. It's not. It's the same thing. Chaos magic and that are the same fucking thing. Like what all that it is.
Or when people speak tongues, bro.
No.
Good luck.
No, it's like if you go, I hope something happens in your head, and you go, I hope, and then that's all that it is. Then you are in a place of inaction. If you actually like say to yourself, I'm going to figure out what's going on. I want to know what's going on at the Mandalorian set. And then you drive your ass down there, you might find out. I manifested that when I drove there today. They're laying concrete. Very exciting. But I mean, that's the difference is it's just the difference between action and inaction. It's not chaos magic. It's not manifesting anything. It's actually like throwing it out there. And he threw it out there.
I've had some personal dreams in my life fulfilled, and I've had some others never coming close. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I'm sitting in those moments, there's like I always wanted to go to, ever since Space World, Shoshankai in 1995, when they showed off the Nintendo 64, mm-hmm. I wanted to go and see Nintendo live and see Miyamoto. I just wanted to be in that. I watched it live on the internet, on AOL. It's crazy. And, you know, there came a point in 2010 and 11 when I got to do that twice. When I worked with Play and then GameFan, got to be in the last time Nintendo did one at E3, right? So it's when they showed the 3DS and the Wii U when they first showed that off.
Yeah.
Now when I'm sitting there, I'm not okay. So we were both in that same room when they did the whole like Domino song and everything in there, and the bit they had the live orchestra, you know, for the the Zelda music, which
I
was
remember
dope.
going after and like testing out the Wii hardware on all like the demo
I
stuff.
did all
and
that.
I was like, lightsabers, dude, they're gonna make this lightsaber game, you guys. Trust me, they're gonna do it. It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
I know. But the thing is, when I'm there, I go, look, isn't it crazy that I got to do this? But then I think about all the things that led up to it, and some of it's just random luck, man.
Yeah.
You know, just random luck that's why I'm sitting there. You know, some of it's a lot of hard work, but, you know, more often than not, you get lucky. And sometimes folks work their fucking ass off and never get nowhere, you know? And I think this is the actor from Aladdin, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's he supposed to say, though? I was Aladdin, so I know people at Disney, so I just call him up and say, hey, you know, that's probably the truth, right? I already have relationships established, so I know. Like, I throw my hat in the ring. It's not like any actor of Indian or East Asian descent can just go and just throw their hat in the ring. He's got a working relationship with them. So
no,
not to say
this is America, Rob. Of course you can.
I wish he would. You know, but that's not going to happen. So then it gets into this whole, like, maybe he's trying to find someone to date. Maybe that's where that that manifesting stuff in LA sounds great when you go on blind dates.
No, yeah, for sure. Generally, I've had to listen to some bullshit. Usually it's like there's reps, like agencies.
Yeah.
And those agencies become a wheelhouse for the main studios, those corporations. And so when you get that representation, like if you dig, you'll start to see, oh, wow, I'm seeing a lot of the same reps that are repping all of the same people that are in Star Wars and stuff like that, you know? And so he definitely would have a shoe-in from having worked with Disney before. They know his work ethic. They know how he performs. They know how they know weird ass data from polling that they did about the guy.
They know he's not going to bring a plethora of poodles to his apartment to trash it.
To trank that shit up, trank it up to 11.
I wish Trank would direct. I wish Trank. Did you listen to that Limp Bizkit video this morning?
No.
They drop one, and I keep thinking, like, man, somehow Trank and Bizkit need to team up. I don't know why that popped in my head, but it just seems to. There's a similar vibe there.
Yeah. God. Speaking of, I went out on a date with a girl in LA, and we were talking about music, and then she started trying to sell me on the fact that she was a Limp Bizkit groupie for a while in Europe. And I was like, ew, gross. I'm out. I'm totally out. I mean, I wanted to be in, but there's some things I can't see past. It's like everybody knows.
Chasing Amy moment, Jason.
Oh, like... yeah, that's what I wanted to. Did I screenshot? I meant to screenshot. Okay, so if you watched the show the other day, we had like kind of a Kevin Smith episode where we talked about his new book, and we, dealt with some of the issues that were in there and talked about him and asked some questions. And believe it or not, guys, a real life homosexual wrote in. A homosexual wrote into the show and said exactly what they thought. No, sorry. I just like to say homosexual because it's funny when they say homosexual. Like you know, whenever anybody says homosexual, whatever comes next is both stupid and hilarious. I'm just going to throw it out there. But anyways, Eric Diaz wrote in and said, I adore Chasing Amy, but I am old enough to remember when it came out, and all my lesbian friends hated it. But as a gay dude, I'd always say, it's because you know it's all true. And they grumbled, we know, but they hated being called out on shit by a straight male filmmaker. And I can confirm that is all true. In my early 20s, I was in love with my straight best friend, and I wanted more than he could give me. Just like Holden and Alyssa, we had a huge fight about it. Where he blasted me for wanting him to be something he isn't. And then after that fight, we immediately slept together. Nice. And that was not the only time. Nice. And of course, it did not work out. Too bad, but nice. Because like Holden and Alyssa, it was ultimately doomed. In your 20s, though, that's probably nice too, because more shit to do anyways than be in relationships. We are still very good friends though to this day. Nice. Point being, the story of chasing Amy happens in real life. It's just a lot of people don't like to admit it does. And I could definitely get the frustration of a late 90s, early 2000s lesbian who's like, why is this motherfucker telling our story? I could get that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand it. At the same time, though, I don't think it necessarily has to invalidate the valid points that he makes. And I also think that the intended audience is something that is lost in the subtleties of the current world that we live in, where everything is, oh, I gotcha. You made an off-color joke 15 years ago. I'm gonna fucking get you. Like those kind of people, they really like subtleties don't matter. And but subtleties do matter, and intended audience matters. And I don't feel like chasing Amy, maybe Kevin Smith was hoping it was for everyone, but I think it was really about, hey, let's talk about this thing to straight fucking dudes who buy comic books who are going to encounter this kind of shit. I kind of think it was sort of in a weird way. I don't know if a healthy PSA is the best way to put it, but the closest thing I could think of that we got.
It's a weird argument, because you enter that territory where it's like, well, you can only write about things if you're into it, if you identify with it, which means I can only write about fishermen I'm not saying the same thing as a profession is the same as what someone identifies with.
Yeah.
But I'm going to bring up a point I used to bring at the same time, was Bound. For the Wachowskis were the Wachowskis that we know now. They were the Wachowski brothers. And Bound is one of the coolest fucking movies I've ever seen.
I haven't seen it, actually.
Dealt with a great lesbian relationship set, but it's a fantastic film, man. And no one at the time knew the Wachowskis what they identified with, or their, any they didn't even know who they were. Right. I didn't see one, any of my gay friends having a problem with that either. So I'm not saying that my friends are representative of all the gays or one. This is difficult territory. I think when it comes to, if you want more representation, then yes, you have to allow a system that hires people from different backgrounds and different identities and different experiences. At the same time, if someone's being respectful, you have to allow them to include your groups into their stories as well. Otherwise, you're catering to a very specific audience, Like, it was very difficult to get any of my heterosexual friends to go to the Hillcrest movie theater. They somehow thought they were going to get male raped, because it was a theater in Hillcrest. I can't figure why. They were more afraid of Hillcrest than they were of Compton. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know why. Like, it's the best restaurants. It's clean. Everyone's super nice, but they just had this fear in the 90s of being raped if they went to that part of town. And I was just like, just fucking go with me. Like my non-nerd friends, taking them to Comic-Con, it's just fucking hard as shit. Yeah. Now it was hard, but when I did, then they're like, "Oh wow, there's something for me." So it's just, I just think, like, long as you're being respectful, and you're also coming from a place of truth. I mean, the place of truth for Kevin was the relationship, that the problem Holden has with I'm blanking on her fucking name. I always get it.
Joey Lauren Adams.
Alyssa. was Alyssa Jones. Yeah. Thank you. With Alyssa's background was the problem he had in previous relationships, and I think possibly even the relationship he had with Joey Lauren Adams. Like, what do you? They were dating, and what do you do when you look like Kevin Smith and you're dating someone who looks like Joey Lauren? You have a serious inferiority complex. And
all I know is that motherfucker manifested a couple of times. Good luck, good work, Kevin Smith. That's a manifestation there.
So I mean, do you really want to live in a world where someone's going, oh no, I can't include this gender, this identity, this race, this into my story because I'm not that? Do you want to live in that world? Is that a good idea? Like, no, that's a worse idea.
And I don't want to flip it where, like, what's her name, who's making that Star Wars, what's that Star Wars one in the Old Republic era, or the High Republic
Acolyte.
one? The Acolyte director, who is a gay woman. I don't want her to only have to make gay women Star Wars, like, either. Like, she could probably,
like when they announced the Black Widow movie, female director, one woman, female. I get it, but a female direct. motherfucker, have you guys like Wayne's World is not a female movie. Directed by one of the best female. I mean, that movie's great. Just it's just weird. With
and Penny Marshall did big. It's like it doesn't have to. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be like this is my niche because it's me. This movie's me. Like I don't think these women are that small, and that they should be pigeonholed into that kind of thing. At the same time, I mean, I guess it does say one thing. And it's that it says two things. They are capable directors who can make feature films, and but it also says that the studio cares more about getting the checkbox. See, guys, we don't suck. We do this kind of thing.
And from the viewer's viewpoint, we're in that territory where they think, oh, if this character said this on the screen, that means the director's endorsing this idea.
Yeah.
As if I put Freddy Krueger on the screen and he's hunting kids, then I endorse the hunting of children,
But like George Lucas put unlimited power, and I do think he was pretty into it.
So it's just a weird area, man. And this is why it's not my way of dealing with this when I was younger was just to be like, I'm not talking to people about stuff because unless I know what kind of person they are, I just don't feel like explaining the obvious to fucking people who I used to say stupid people, but that's not what I think anymore. It's just people who have a very limited mind. Now my belief is that I'm willing to have any conversation with someone who's willing to have a rational conversation. If they're just going to start spitting out talking points, then I back out. I go, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm out. I go, you win, because I can't talk to a robot. But I don't think that's the case here. I think it's a case where, like your friend said, that this was a movie that was showing a side of the community that maybe wasn't so positive, right? They were against her dating any man, right? How dare you? We're losing one of us kind of thing, which is an absurd tribal statement to make anyway, but there were people like that. That's why my gay friends were like, oh, we know that feeling, because my girlfriend at the time was bisexual and they felt like they were losing one of her when she dated me. Like it was a very interesting life I was living at that time. So but I wasn't like holding at all. I was like, I don't care what background. Other than I wanted to be a comic book artist. It's like, hey, if I'm a comic book artist, can I live in a cool loft like that with my buddy? No.
Yeah, right.
No, welcome to Net 60, asshole.
No, it's more like that. It's more like a house with like 6 dudes and a bunch of filth, usually.
Yeah.
So friends. Yeah.
Whatever. There's still movies. Like, guys, these are movies. It's heightened reality. Even the most realistic even the documentaries, which are supposed to be real life, are not real life. There's always some bias. There's always some entertainment value thrown in. I mean, fire in the sky. You know what I mean? As crazy as the tale that is, it goes off the real shit deep hole. But I mean, if you even watch the documentaries like the Robert Durst documentary, as crazy as that was with what happened at the end of that, which led to his current conviction, it's still not reflective of the real timeline, the real way life went down. Like it's all a form of theatrical.
Yeah. When you have to put things, when you have to whittle life down to a narrative, it gets weird, and that's what's weird about fandom in a lot of ways too. I mean, it's because you could even like see it like in the incel movement though, where you have that echo chamber kind of thing, and they can like, did you know that the incel stuff started on the IMDb boards from 40-year-old virgin?
Really?
Yes, that's where the community
Never
has
watched it, by the way.
And then a woman, a lesbian woman who just couldn't get laid, was the one who called herself an incel, and I guess had done some writings on it and all of these things. She was part of it at first, and then she was like, she was like, you guys are crazy, and she left. She's like, I'm out of this shit.
Like the lady who started, I'm not women hating, I just want to put that out there, but the lady who started the gender reveal parties.
Right.
It's like, please, for the love of God, stop it. Stop burning down half the fucking world. with these stupid fucking things and killing each other over it, you know?
Yeah.
Just sometimes you get into something and you have no idea what you're going to start, right?
Imagine what if Darth Vader and Padme had been like, you know what, you got a new robot dick and you're in this black costume now. I'm into it. I'm not going to die of a broken heart because I'm kind of into this new look you got. And so she has the babies. Everything's fine. What would the Darth Vader gender reveal party be like when it's a boy and a girl?
Make them kiss. Ah, ha, 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 ha.
Just blue and pink lasers firing at families and parks and Death Star, you know. But yeah.
Well, think about like Lucas, right? He starts these independent little like auteur films, and then it winds up with the case of empty Pepsi cans selling for $500 on eBay.
And that is the exact case that I had that I talked about on the show the other day. Is that one right there? And it's I mean, like I said, if you care at all about it, I mean, to me, I like it, but I'm glad I got rid of it on one hand. But on the other hand, it's one of the few things that I think does define that thing for me. Whatever reason, the Pepsis, they were fucking everywhere. You could not get away from it.
I got so lucky. I was in Germany in the army at the time. I didn't see any of that. We didn't get any of those Pepsi cans at the PX or anything. So, dude, I only got it for 2 weeks when I came here in July of '99 for my friend's wedding. And I was like, what is this? And it was the tail end of it. I wasn't here for the crazy fucking throwdown.
It was nuts. They at the first celebration, Pepsi was giving out tacos and Pizza Hut and free Pepsis. And this really disgusting, like if somebody took Mountain Dew and added piss to it, that was called Storm. And it was only available in like some weird market. We never got it out here in Southern California. But yeah. But it was pretty rad when you're like
Kelly.
When you're like 19, you really have no place being able to afford going to Star Wars Celebration, on your gas station job money at the time. But they're giving out free tacos and pizza and Pepsi. We were just like putting it in our bags. We're like, okay, we're gonna make it. now we can. Oh yeah. Oh, it works.
Those Taco Bell tacos, you got at least 24 hours of them.
Yeah, they get. I gotta be honest. I mean, I have fucked up some old Taco Bell tacos by about 2 days old, but they get all soft and mushy about
they do,
an hour
and that's
later,
when they taste like junior high school taquitos.
Yeah,
when they'd all be mushy in the center, you'd have those crispy ends, but in the center, mush. That is what happens when you leave Taco Bell out for 24 hours.
I just like break it up. And try if I have taco sauce left, I just douse it in taco sauce and pretend like it's something else. Yeah,
I struggle with weight issues myself. I know. My wife, every now and then, my wife sees me do some real fucking dumb shit with food.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, she left pizza out, and she was like, "Oh, it's hard." I'm like, "That's nothing taco sauce can't solve." Mm-hmm. Give me some Franks. Come here, just dip it in there. Rehydrate it.
Dude, no. Surprisingly, like it's in terms of fast food, Taco Bell you can eat less calories at a Taco Bell than you can at most, those other places. And if your girlfriend's a vegetarian, it used to be great. I think they changed it though now.
Did you get Taco Bell at your high school?
We did. We did.
We did too. We had the bean burritos, the bean and cheese burritos they would sell,
and we'd have the fucking chilitos sometimes, the chili cheese burrito in other markets. But that was great.
The chili cheese, we had those sometimes. So that's the only thing. If I ever go to a Taco Bell, I just stick with the bean and cheese burrito or the basic taco because I just have high school nostalgia. I'm like, if they could just sell a Star Crunch or a Little Debbie's fucking oatmeal around here, like this would be Rob nostalgia all over again. See what happens when you bring me on the show? We just don't talk about what are we supposed to talk? I miss the day when there's real news. So I was watching the show yesterday with you and Jesse. Good show. Yeah. And you were like, man, I love it. Everyone's chatting. I'm like, because there's fucking news.
Yeah.
There's a poster. Now, I want to talk to you about that poster because you were saying it was too dark and you had to lighten it up. And I agree, but I really feel like they should be handing those posters to an artist. I guess Struzan's retired, but like a Phil Shipper or one of these dudes who could have translated that darkness into like actual artwork, right? That would have brought out
a mood. into like a mood instead of
otherwise just a photo, like that's the bummer of it. Like, because if they had done that and then put prints up for sale on our site, how many people would have gone and bought one that day? Just a lot of missed merch opportunities straight from Star Wars,
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, that like those God, I get frustrated by the fact that I understand the excitement and the enthusiasm from fans who are like, there's a new poster. But at the same time, there's really not a new poster. There's a JPEG or whatever. And that's really all that it amounts to. And that's why there isn't really much, nobody really gives a shit. It was meant to make that splash in that afternoon. And it's not really about legacy. It's just about look. So there's something to look at. So
at least it's not one of those motion posters. Remember when they were doing that for a while? Here's the new motion poster. I'm like, fuck, I gotta watch this smoke in front of an image. Sparks in front of it.
Like, I'm looking, what am I gonna see Han Solo where he dies if I look hard enough, long enough? No, I'm not.
You did ask Jesse what he was looking forward to in the show. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to the show. Just action. I don't even care if there's one character beat. If it's just Boba Fett and a John Wick fight for 6 episodes, 20 minutes in every episode, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm afraid of too much character development with Boba because I really feel like you go as you said, he was a character with potential, right? And that's true. But I feel like there's more potential to fuck it up at this point than it is to add anything, a meaningful backstory. I mean, what are they going to do? He finds the head, like we want revenge and we want Boba kicking ass. If he's crying, like it's just not going to go well. Like, and I don't know if Tamara Morrison is that deep an actor, like.
No, I think you don't make him cry. I think you make him angry. Like you know what I mean, though? Hellboy in the shower? Hellboy in the shower? No. No Hellboy in the shower for Boba Fett. None of that.
He just starts scraping off his armor with his tears, he's Boba Fett. I don't know. Like, I'm certain they'll do something that we don't expect because Rob Rodriguez is talking the shit out of this. He's just like, can't wait, greatest Star Wars ever. But honestly, if it's just a bunch of fights, I'd be happy.
I think it'll be that for sure. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, it's like that's what Mandalorian is to some extent as well. I mean, it has little baby Yoda who's adorable, and this one won't have it, so you're gonna have to. But you do have to have a story, and there does have to be some sort of dynamic that goes somewhere between him and the characters. I would think, anyways. I mean, well, like when you look at like Westerns and stuff, which, I saw a lot in my youth because my grandfather liked them. I couldn't really stand them for the most part, but it's like you either have people at odds who atone, or you have people who appear to be on the same quest and then betray each other. And then the hero guns him down. And at the end is just like, take my big dick and walk away kind of thing. That's what
you really should read the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novelization.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk about Westerns. I mean, it's not an adaptation of the movie. There's a couple scenes in the film you reread from a different point of view. I have to use that phrase. But it's stuff that exists before or up to a scene or after, or completely reimagines a scene in the way that the film didn't do. So, but there's a lot of talk about Hollywood Westerns and the spaghetti Western that he was going to go do, versus the 50s Westerns and I mean, tons of Hollywood Western talk in that. So
yeah,
but my favorite Westerns were, I mean, sad to say, man, I'm not that deep into American Westerns. So like, I like High Plains Drifter and Unforgiven, and like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
like Clint Eastwood,
Searchers. Yeah, no, but I think that they're going to pull from spaghetti westerns probably for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of John Ford and Robert Rodriguez's filmography. It's kind of a Spielberg thing.
Yeah. I also, because it's also like it's not so like American westerns can go a little more squeaky clean, maybe. I'm trying to think. Like,
yeah, that's why I always prefer samurai films to not just Kurosawa, but any samurai film to a Western. If I gotta watch guys with the swords fight against a dusty background,
but Kurosawa loved Ford, like, you know what I mean? He was
Right.
all about John. Like he was taking that and classing it up a bit, I think, though.
Yeah.
At least for
Robert
me.
Rodriguez is like Image Comics. You know what I mean? He's like,
yeah,
he's like energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's visually intense and gets that kinetic action moving, which if he was making Westerns, I would probably like him. In reality, you know, I mean, Desperado, Desperados, is like
El Mariachi.
Yeah,
which I really like. El Mariachi. When it comes to one of those low budget indie films that took off, El Mariachi really does it quite. I mean, to me, it exists in the same universe as Breaking Bad. Like that style of storytelling and frenetic action set across a like realistic environment, you know. Desperado is when it goes up to like Grindhouse level, right? Like it gets kicked up a little higher up the okay, you know, like I'm cool, you know.
Yeah, I was just thinking right now when you were saying that, when I was like about how Book of Boba is going to probably be what our assumptions are, and then I'm trying to I'm thinking about live action as Ezra Bridger, and I'm like, you know, Massoud would be good if we were going for a straight up adaptation of the cartoon, but you know, in a way, like with the time that has gone by and stuff like that, I would honestly rather they go with a Middle Eastern actor who is a bit more Poe Dameron-esque. You know what I mean? Because like that's, and he's an adult now. He's not going to be a kid anymore, and he's supposed to be going towards being a Jedi, obviously. And then he also has to be next to Luke Skywalker potentially. And but I don't know what the plan is. Maybe in 10 years he will look like an Oscar Isaac, but he is very baby faced, I would say, the actor. So but he does look like the cartoon character, who does look just like Aladdin. So so it's kind of hard to argue with it, you know. And
look, we're just in wizard fan casting territory. I just want, unless you know the actor you're getting 100%, like I guess at this point people know, you know, representatives and producers and directors, they know what a Christian Bale will do, they know what a Sam Jackson will do, right? Unless they really know, I just hope that there's a really good screen test and that they were the best person on the camera, you know, like, and they didn't wizard fan call it like, oh, he looks like it and he can't act because, you know, movie. But that's it, because the actor who played the Beast in the Beauty and the Beast thing, he's from Downton Abbey, right? Love him in Downton Abbey. I was like, this guy would make a Captain. He gotta be some kind of superhero, and then he plays the Beast, and I'm like, why? He's just not. That guy doesn't have that kind of ferocity. He doesn't have a real angry side to him. He has like a pouty Anakin face side to him. Like, this is a bad idea.
Well, my assumption, and I think my assumption is probably right, but it's still an assumption, is that what we're kind of seeing is, in a bit of the subtext of all of these shows, are elements that are going to lead to these characters who become part of a Luke Skywalker show. When Luke Skywalker starts the new Jedi Order in his new Jedi temple before Kylo,
the old Jedi.
Before Kylo ruins it. But in doing that, you get 20 years of stories where, oh look, it's the Avengers. It's Luke Skywalker with Ezra Bridger and Grogu and Ahsoka Tano and so on. Like as they develop these characters, because that show or that movie would be fucking huge. If you make and the only thing it'll have are people going, I don't know how it ends. but you know what? We've proven that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That doesn't matter.
None of that matters. Everyone knows how World War II ends until they watch Inglourious Basterds. Like, and then they complain, that's not how it ended. Oh, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Imagine if at the end of Titanic, fucking Free Willy just pushed the other side up. You know what I mean? Just pushed him to like, and then Michael Jackson's on the front and everyone's just kumbaya into fucking Canada. They would have complained.
Well,
but you didn't know.
I mean, same thing with, you know, with when you get down to it, with just the prequels. I mean, yeah, we know he becomes Darth Vader at the end. The point isn't the end. It's not the destination, it's the journey, right? And that's kind of the important thing when it comes to these stories. But if they aren't doing this Luke Skywalker Avengers movie / television series, they're pretty fucking dumb. I will tell you, because that is the one idea that should probably, because it would not surprise me if it ends up being about, let's make all of these television shows and then make event movies off of the television shows eventually. That would be that would be a solid layout plan.
It's the hope I have.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were saying it on the show the other day that no, I think you were saying it off the show. We were talking about, like, you know, how quiet it is at the moment, and then how, like, you know, when that next Star Wars film finally gets going, it's probably, and people can go back to theaters again, hopefully, it's going to be probably a pretty exciting time.
Yeah, I feel that they're going to push it the way they pushed The Force Awakens. I think they're going to really push that. And I think a lot of these low-key, like, little poster drops they do for the shows is their way of toning all of that down and toning all of it down. Let the internet chatter pick up, because it will. They obviously don't need to push it too hard. But this, you'll see this for Rogue Squadron, whatever one comes first, you know, will be the big in theaters, but, you know, like, and I just hope that they have something visually stimulating to match the screen, right? Because if, swear to goodness, man, if it's just another people contemplating where they should help the rebellion or not, like, I just can't deal with it. I don't know. Should we do the right thing or not? Yeah, you want to do the right thing. You know, like, don't get along with another, but don't. It's that whole, like, I don't know if I should fight the bad guys or not because it's hard. I want fucking badass space battles, you know, and maybe someone who's fucking, I don't know. I guess what is the lesson of Top Gun, really? Other than, you know, a couple guys really.
Kelly McGillis. If you take a shower, you could manifest Kelly McGillis.
Part of me is hoping it's this Iron Eagle, where someone steals an X-wing to go do the right thing because no one else will.
Well, that's kind of a part of me goes, you know, the one thing that is in the press release is that it's in a new era and Jenkins also says it's in a new era of Star Wars, that an unexplored era. So you know, when you get into, like, I could be wrong, and I'm not sure exactly how everything washed out, but we assumed Rogue One was related to Rogue Squadron originally. But then, like, I feel like after, you know, you start hearing about Rogue Squadron and you see, like, all the people who died in Rogue One, like Red 5 dies, and then now there's a new squadron called Rogue Squadron. I thought it was a tribute to the Rogue One, to the people who just pulled that shit off. And this new squadron that's formed is kind of connected to that. That's what I assumed when they put it together. That's where they were going anyway. That's what I thought. But when we get to 7, 8, and 9, Poe Dameron starts Black Squadron, which I always hoped they were going to go with, like, the Black Sheep kind of Pappy Boynton angle on it, but they never did. It kind of came close to it at times, but never really went there fully. But we don't have a Rogue Squadron in the sequel trilogy, at least on screen anyways. And I don't know if they ever put it anywhere else. I don't think so, but the chat could probably correct me if I'm wrong. And so with that in mind, I just kind of feel like, or I don't feel like, but I wouldn't put it beyond the fact that if we end up in a post episode 9 era, we end up in another situation where people aren't doing the right thing, and a bunch of fighter pilots come together for some mission, and it's Rogue, and it's like the Rogue One concept, and it's pulling from everything it's done, which could potentially be very tired. But I also think that it just like the moment in Rogue One that's super corny, Rogue, Rogue One. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that ever again. That was horrible.
You're so harsh on these lines. Like,
oh, man,
like
you don't. The only time it's ever been cool is Back to the Future.
Bro,
that's the only time.
You literally got a movie where a man says, "I'm Batman." All right, like just chill out.
But the movie's not called I'm Batman. The movie's called Batman.
It's called Batman. I'm Batman. That's pretty close. Like,
okay, well, but that's his name. I mean, if you can't go like, oh, they said Buck Rogers and Buck Rogers. I'm not going that far.
Come on, it's pretty corny. All right, when you think if you saw a guy in a costume grab you by the shirt and say I'm Batman, he'd laugh in his face. Like, I mean,
sure.
Like, even if he was kicking the shit out of you, you'd probably laugh at his because that's I don't know. Like, they're corny lines at their heart. It's whether the scene itself is sincere. I think that scene is sincere. All right. And yeah, the Back to the Future line should not work. It's even said corny. Back to the future. But for some goddamn reason it works. Like I do not know.
Because it's not that serious. Or you know what I mean? It's not it's Back to the Future is practically a comedy. You know what I mean when you get down to it.
The comedy with a central core. And look, I told you, as you get older and you lose your parents, you look at that movie hits me in a way different way. Like for my father, it hit him because he was born in 1955, so he sort of thinks back to his childhood, and like his parents like disappeared, so it hit him on a different level. But me, I'm like, man, if I saw my dad as a teenager, I probably fucking would hate him. Yeah. He was kind of a jock, and like probably a right winger out in the forest.
that was Bob Gale's perspective of coming up with the movie. He's like, his dad was like class president, and he was like, fuck this guy. This guy's a nerd.
So what if the Rogue Squadron is Wedge's kid, and he just like fucking hates Dennis Lawson like I do? Like, and he calls him Dennis Lawson too. Like, it's a little meta. And like, he's like, fuck that dude. He needs a booster seat to see over the cockpit. I mean, who needs that?
I'm gonna out you right now. The other day, I put on the cameras and I could see him, and he was like looking in the camera. He didn't know I could see him, and he was going, okay, manifest. He's all gonna break the law, Dennis Lawson. And then I was like, hey dude, you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Look, no matter how hard Dennis Lawson tries to manifest 5 extra inches on his height, it ain't happening. Like, was it like I was listening to the Jim Cornette podcast and they were going over like I guess Hulk Hogan's the greatest liar of all fucking time. I didn't know how bad he lies, but he said he gained.
There's hair in my head, brother. It's long blood, flowing hair.
He grew 5 inches because of spinal surgeries. Like,
what?
I was like, yeah, like he grew like 4 or 5 inches because of spinal surgeries. Like, he said that on the record. Like, that's crazy. And so I figured Dennis Lawson.
He's a Wolverine. He's basically a Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dennis Lawson is a hairless Wolverine.
Dennis Lawson's like, why does this American guy want to kick my ass all the time?
That I just want to put him in a little box like the one behind me. Just close him in it.
Yeah.
Take him home.
Yeah, I and to go back to our thing earlier is like, if the main lead in the movie is female, cool. But I hope that they're not just like, oh, if we make a movie with ladies, it has to be Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like I hope they're not doing that to her. And that whatever the movie is, it doesn't really matter to me who the main character is or whatever. But I hope that they're not doing that to her after she did Wonder Woman, because that would suck. I think, you know what I mean. And it's it's kind of in a weird way, I think, unfortunate that the Rogue Squadron movie's coming now, because if they had switched Rogue Squadron with Solo and given it like a little bit more time, I feel like that would have been a way cooler rollout for stuff, because that
this is going to need to be a feel-good film though, and I don't think Solo is quite the feel-good film it should have been. Solo should have been a fun party, and it's like making more serious statements than the sequel trilogy at times.
what I would have done if I was making it, I would like it is funny if when at the end, Han Solo loses everything. You're like, oh, he's kind of a loser. That's what happens to him. But it would have been such a better surefire thing for a sequel if he was rich as fuck at the end. If he straight up robbed that shit and had his thing and you're like in the end, and you're like, yeah. And then the next time you see him in the next movie, you're like,
he blows all the money.
He fucked it all up. Yeah. Then you're like, oh shit, Han.
It would also be great because then when you see him get that money at the end of at the New Hope, you're like, he's gonna blow that shit again. Can't be trusted with cash. Like,
yeah,
he's got a gambling habit. He wears those fuzzy dice. Turns out those are 1 million credits.
Dude. To make matters worse, last night,
easy dice. Sorry,
last night I have those dice, and I have them in the mirror of my car. And when I go real fast, they spin around a little bit. I'm like, ah! And I did it last night right before I figured out I didn't have my wallet because life has to just shit on me all at once, or and the dice just flew off the chain, and I found one, and it has like a little hole that is like welded inside, super cheap. I can't find where the other one went, but someday I'll find it. But I like to imagine
all your super glue on that puzzle. So
when in the 80s, yeah. But I like to imagine it just manifesting in what's his name's hands right now. And he's like, I am Ezra Bridger. Anyways, James says the Rogue Squadron novels read like a novelization of 1980s G.I. Joe cartoons. I hope Rogue Squadron is more like Band of Brothers. Yeah, when it comes to like the fighter pilot kind of thing, I wouldn't mind components of Band of Brothers, but when you have that kind of like what makes Band of Brothers work is in some ways I think is like the close proximity of the soldiers to each other, like in foxholes that they're stuck in, and then those kind of situations. And depending on what the plot is, if they're in cockpits, it's kind of hard to like. Can you imagine like I'm like flying here and I'm like, how you doing, Rob? Hey, Rob. You just it doesn't really work like in terms of
and who's upside down
visually.
In space? Like if you go, like who's really I don't know which one's upside down.
Look, I'm trying to have a heart-to-heart with you. Can you get right to my gravity, please? To my center of gravity. But at the same time, I mean, it's like depending on how the length of the movie and what the point of it is, you can still have those on the ground, and I'm sure a lot of it will be on the ground.
Here's the other problem they face, being the first Star Wars movie post-pandemic. It's a Star Wars movie with no Force, and the average public equates Star Wars with Jedi. I don't care what. I'm the guy who's always like, I like the other stuff than the Jedi, and believe me, my friends never wanted to hear that shit. And so Mandalorian, if it didn't have that little Grogu, I don't know if it would have hit the hearts and minds in the same way that it did. Like Baby Yoda changed the whole game. That puts the Force in there somehow. So if one of them fighter pilots is going to have to be using the Force or something, like it's going to have to, or it's just not going to have the resonance. I know we all like to think it doesn't have to, but I'm sorry, kind of does. Like,
well, I mean, you bring up a good point. Is that moment in A New Hope when Luke turns off his targeting computer? That's when it becomes literally about the human and the human element in an abstract environment in a spaceship, like, which is hard to relate to in certain ways. And by doing that, it made the moment connect like really, really, really well. Had Luke used the targeting computer, had there not been the Obi-Wan saying,
had John Williams not scored that scene perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah. And I one thing I've noticed so far actually with women fans is that I will sometimes hear, I actually love the prequels. I don't like the originals because the lightsaber battles really were boring to me. And I liked the heroes of Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. And then they go, but and that stuff, and that's like pretty common. That's like pretty common for like a certain generation of ladies. But when it comes to Solo, they go, I can't explain it. I just don't like it. And it's like, oh, it makes complete sense to me because you like Jedi and fast-paced lightsaber fights, and the Han Solo topic couldn't be further from it, other than the fact that he shoots out a Kylo Ren here and there and the Princess Leia. So it kind of just ends up, which is not on anybody's mind when they're watching the movie, I don't think. So yeah, it is. And that's the challenge. And what also is stupid about YouTube criticism, they'll be like, they were calling for the Solo movie to fail before it was even announced, or was like even in production. They're like, see, it's because of whatever reason I'm pushing now is why the movie failed, and that kind of stuff. But the actual and not that it even either of these things necessarily relate to why Solo was less than successful, or less successful for that matter, but is that when you are doing Star Wars at a mass level, you're going to focus on components and certain avenues and aspects that just don't holistically represent Star Wars. If you do the Han Solo movie, you lose that Jedi element, and they tried to put it in with the Maul moment, which I loved at the time, but now I actually really don't like it, because if it's not followed up on in any correct or meaningful way, it becomes a big so what kind of like at the end. If that's
the way that movie, I'm not saying this would have changed the box office, but if that movie had set up that basically Kira and Han were the parents of fucking Rey, would have paid off more people who had seen the film and came back to Rise of Skywalker. Would have paid something off. Yeah. And I go, whoa, I don't care about it. I'm just saying, when people go watch the movies, they want to know we live in an age now where if you watch What If and you've seen all the Marvel movies, you get even more out of it. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's the age we live in now, where people want to know, hey, am I investing my time appropriately, or will Netflix cancel the show one season in, so I shouldn't even bother? Like, which is it? And so movies like the DC films that tend to just go away, you know what I mean? Like, or take forever. Like, it takes like 7 years to make an Aquaman sequel, because I don't know why. The story is that important. Was the story that important? Like, I don't know. But when you watch Solo, there's nothing there for you to carry with you other than A New Hope. But we already got that film with Rogue One, which perfectly went into the front of New Hope. So it's like, making 2 prequels to A New Hope was not the best idea. Just really wasn't. And
I think behind the scenes, I think they had a couple of ideas with that. And I think that they actually did it. I think that if there was a lot of, by setting things in that era, they could reuse a lot of stuff. Even Mandalorian reused that stuff. I've seen shipping manifests. There's the word again, from Pinewood to El Segundo. You know what I mean? It's happened.
All right, so. But they could have easily done. They wanted to cast a new Luke. They could have cast a new Luke and done the Shadows. I'm not saying adapt Shadows of the Empire. I don't want Dash Rendar on the fucking screen. But you know what? I'm like, there's other things they could have done. But another prequel to New Hope. And plus, the complaints I got from people, not just, my wife who I went to, but people at the theater, was like, I was watching a guy pretend to be like Harrison Ford. Either they didn't want to see it or they didn't get it. Yeah. I mean, not didn't get what he was doing, but he wasn't doing an impersonation of Harrison Ford. So some people were looking for that and other people's weren't. And that actor did not resonate with a lot of people. Like, for whatever reason, not saying he's good or bad, just saying he didn't resonate with a lot of people. Like, I don't think people were heartbroken when they heard Val Kilmer wasn't coming back as Batman, right? As much as I like Batman Forever, Jim Carrey sort of stole that show. Like, Michael Keaton got way more play as Batman than Val Kilmer. Like, so I don't know, man. I don't know. He didn't really. Zizor. All right, they're on talk.
I believe it's Shizor. Like, sure. like her story. Anyways, what do you call it? No, but I put Thrawn's comment out because I would anyway, but because it brings up something that like is kind of like on my mind a lot of the time, and that's that Shizor sucks and Dash Rendar sucks, And the majority of the characters that you read in novels are so blank that they're not made to be anything that really matters or is good. But I would be excited if they were going to put Dash Rendar or Shizor in something, because I would like to see them make it better or make it something good, or actually like elevate it. Because that's always kind of the hope, is that you take the mundane aspects of the trash and you elevate it to something that actually matters. And it's completely possible, because like all of the pulp that Lucas used to make Star Wars was all elevated garbage.
Right, but to get back to the Han thing, like, it probably should have been a Lando movie. It would have set well with a lot more people.
Yeah.
It just would have, like, then it would have been a prequel, but not really. It's kind of a prequel to Empire Strikes Back in a way, like, and you get to put your new Han actor in there, right? You get to introduce that stuff, but then you get to hang out with the character. You don't know what the hell was Lando doing, like, like. And they found an actor who just knew how to bring more to the role than Billy D. Williams. Let's be honest, Billy D. Williams, he's great in the bites that he's in, but he's not past Empire. He didn't bring much to it in Jedi. Like, he wasn't like, I mean, he was great in Empire, but
he didn't really. Yeah, Return of the Jedi gave no one, and it didn't give anybody anything to do. So I'm gonna give him a pass on that one, because I think he's the best Harvey Dent ever. But that said,
ghosts and goblins.
Ghosts and goblins. It's the best.
Every Halloween,
and every time he says it, I think of the video game, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! I love that game too. I love that game, Lando."
But what if they had a scene where Michael Keaton goes to see him down at the DA's office, and he's playing Ghosts and Goblins, and he's like, "Oh, huh." That's where he gets his info.
I remember the first time I beat Ghosts and Goblins. I didn't beat it. You had to beat it twice. They were such assholes. It was like a dream or something. And the second time you played through, you actually beat it. They were dicks.
Yeah. Well, there's a show in Japan that kind of started the Let's Play movement called Game Center CX. It stars this. I mean, he was 30 when it started. He's in his pushing his 60s now. Areno. But he gets to Ghosts and Goblins. He had never played it. And he's not great at games, by the way. This is great. So he's just this Japanese comedian they put in a room, nondescript, plays video games. It's horrible. He does beat the game, and then it goes over again, and he's like, the crushing weight, my friend. And he does it. He goes through it again, and it just, the crushing weight. Look, in the endings of those games were even meaner, because it was just like, hey, you won. It's not like you got much story out of it, or anything extra, but...
Oh yeah, you know what happened yesterday? It was really dumb. Was I mean, obviously being gate kept to some extent, but there was all this shit where like one of the trades was talking about a story yesterday, and they're like, oh, and there's like 11 Star Wars things coming, and then everybody started going, oh, there's too much. What is this? And like everybody forgot the fact that they've already announced all of the things that everybody's looking forward to, and some of them have come out, like Visions and stuff. And then on top of that, to make things even stupider, Rangers of the New Republic is in that list. It's like I fucking clarified it. I told people exactly what was up. It was never canceled. It was not being written yet, and I put it up there. Not one acknowledgement on that, but a fucking trade says it, and everybody takes it like so seriously, and then starts asking questions. What? It's like, hey, I already put it out there. Jon Favreau can't fucking write in his sleep. Just turns out he can't do it. He can only write one thing at a time, for the most part, or finish one thing at a time, anyways. So the active development line was turned into canceled, and it was never canceled, and it got turned in. I think canceled carried because Gina Carano got canceled. And there was
this argument,
and then there was
I just don't care about it anymore.
And then there was, then there was the rumor that she was like the main character, which is not and was never actually accurate. Not completely bullshit, but not accurate.
No, like I thought that Timothy Oliphant would have been.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. Yeah. That's what I was told. He was the main character.
Oh, really?
And it's an ensemble.
Just looking at his acting pedigree and the way that episode went, I'm like, this is him. They're worming, and like the Asian X-Wing fighter pilot guy's got to be in there. It feels like they were worming, because we know back in the day, they would worm like 2 characters into one episode. Remember like Dave Chappelle and the crazy anti-vaxxer dude, Goat Boy, were wormed into Home Improvement. Right?
He's on some fucking drugs right now. That dude's partying hard.
But they wormed them into Home Improvement, and then they gave them their own series called Buddies, playing out friends, right? And then Jim Brewer, he got thrown out the pilot. Buddies went nowhere. But it felt like all the characters they were showing in the different episodes was like a collection of characters that would appear in another series at some point.
Yeah. The example that was used to me was it was like Chips, if you will. And you know what I mean? No, like it was.
Did you see that? There's an episode.
Listen. Hold on. That wasn't the pitch. Okay. This is what somebody who knows and is like jokingly like trying to like level it out to like explain it without saying too much. But yeah, space patrols, small
Knights
townships
of the Old Republic.
No, but townships brought together in a union to defend each other and police the galaxy in a somewhat lawless time. So you're gonna have all the fans going, ladies, I need your help, and then Cara Dune would come up and be like, hey, I'm not gonna wear a mask in space. I don't care if I can't breathe. It's my freedoms. And then be like, okay, Cara Dune,
Leia,
go ahead. Go ahead, Princess Leia. You're from Alderaan too. Have a good time.
What if we just make a special edition when Alderaan blows up, Leia just flies out of there like Neo from the Matrix, or Bail Organa, or someone else she taught some little
and then they're like, and that's why Leia knew that she could survive and how to do it. Oh my god, it all connects.
She was on the Death Star, Rob. How could she fly out of there? Shut up! Shut up! I don't want to hear it. You said Chips. There was a backdoor pilot they put into Chips once where they had a ninja team. Did you ever see this?
No.
There was a whole episode where they cut away from Chips and there was a secret team of ninjas that they went to. And it was the worst. One of them was a puppeteer. It was he had a puppet. He did puppetry. Bro, I can't make this up.
That sounds badass.
It's one of those ones I was like, I wish Mystery Science Theater had covered this.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it when I was a kid. Like, where's Punch and the other guy? Like, the blonde dude and Punch. Like, where are they? They're at the beginning and the end.
Yeah. Kind of one of those Married with Children, like the Married with Children Friends spinoff, right?
The Finucci.
And then there was the other one that was supposed to be like Friends, but they were like dirtier. What was that one called?
They were like they worked at a college radio campus. There was that one. They tried to do like a Howard Stern pirate radio thing. Yeah,
it was supposed to be Friends with Howard Stern, like it was like Friends with Baba Booey in it. Kind of like the idea. Yeah.
You should have just got Baba Booey. That would have been something to watch. Him and Stuttering John try to act on screen. I mean, why not? Like,
it's not in private parts. They tried.
I was thinking about Star Wars Visions yesterday before we go. I feel like that whole thing got greenlit because remember that some dude on the internet put like that anime X-Wing TIE fighter battle like short clip. They did their own little
can confirm that to you if you want. I used to be part of a survey called Obi Wants to Know Me, and they put the whole fucking video in it, and we're like, watch this. Do you like this? Do you want to see more of this? Should we make this? And I was like, yep.
And yet, that was not in it, nor were there any X-Wing versus TIE fighter battles exclusively in that series. That is what's weird to me. Like, I'm like, just yesterday while I'm cooking, like I'm watching the podcast going, something to complain about tomorrow. I know. Why was the thing that launched this whole thing, they never even did the material with, like, or even just paid the guy and put it in there. How about that? Yeah. Like, how great would that have been? We're paying the fan and putting it in there. Like,
it's an intention and it's blown its load already. We've already seen it. You know what I mean, though? It's like it's already.
The average Star Wars fan, Disney Plus hasn't though. They really haven't. Like I know we all like to think because we know, but you know how many Star Wars, like My wife doesn't even know what Troops is. You understand what I'm talking about? Like,
man,
so
dude, I'm gonna call your wife out as being a fake fan.
No, she's not. She'd go,
I'm
okay.
kidding. I'm kidding.
She doesn't.
No,
she didn't care.
I know. That's why I'm doing it. I'm joking.
Right.
Did you see? Did you watch any of that Star Wars audio thing?
No, you mentioned that there was a galaxy of sounds where they go through the audio.
Sound.
Yeah, I don't think you could. That's some shit that should have been on a CD-ROM back in the day.
I both enjoyed it, and I tweeted out, I was like, how high were they when they were coming up with this? But I am losing your audio, and it's falling out of sync now. When you don't pay for Melon, they don't give a shit. You're not paying? Fuck you, says Melon. I like to imagine that Melon is run by Rodney Dangerfield's family from Back to School. And Rodney Dangerfield, if you're not giving him anything, he don't care. He'll triple Lindy the shit out of your stream. He doesn't give a shit. But anyways,
facial effects now.
But thanks to everyone for coming in the chat, hanging out with us today. Thanks to the Patreon supporters and the YouTube channel member subscribers. Appreciate it a lot. And we will see you tomorrow for something cool, I think. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, Rob.